Hey Pan Peeps, it's Mary from VintageCastIronLLC.com. Today I'm going to do another little seasoning tutorial. I am going to season 4 pans. I've got a large block logo Griswold number 8. I've got a Griswold Iron Mountain number 5, a Wagner Ware number 6, and then in the very back I've got an unmarked Griswold, and that's also a number 8. And two of these, the unmarked Griswold and the Wagner, I bought at an auction, and so I don't like to use pans without cleaning them and seasoning them, since I don't know how they've been cleaned and how they've been seasoned. With these 4 pans, all I've done is washed them in hot soapy water with a steel scrubby brush. And then what I did is I put them in the oven for an hour at 400 degrees. And so now I've just taken them out of the oven and they are hot. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 4 pans and I'm going to put my seasoning mixture on each of them. And you can see I just have a small amount on my rag. I'm being very careful because the pans are hot and I don't want to burn my hands. Right now I'm using a mixture of beeswax and Crisco that I kind of concocted because I wanted to try beeswax. Usually I just use Crisco, but you'll see that I'm just putting the very lightest of layers on the pans. Sometimes you'll see in instructions, particularly when they're just written instructions and not a video, that people are slathering on all kinds of oil on their pans. If you do that, you're going to end up with a very mottled looking pan. It's not going to be a nice appearing seasoning job. This one is the number 8 unmarked Griswold. I got this for a very good price. I don't remember what it was, but it's just as good as a marked Griswold. It just doesn't have the markings. So you see I'm kind of putting the oil on and then I'm wiping it off. It shouldn't look like there's any liquid on it whatsoever. Although it will appear shinier, of course, because you put an oil on it. You want to make sure you get all of the different areas of the pan. So now I'm going to turn them around and I'm going to do the interior. Because you want to do the entire pan, not just the cooking surface, because you're trying to protect the iron. So you can see, or at least I hope you can see, it doesn't have like pooling liquid at all in there. It's just got kind of a little bit of a shine to it. But I'm basically putting on the oil and wiping it off. The oil, of course, is still there. It's just not pooling. It's not, you know, when people talk about putting like a tablespoon or a quarter cup of oil on their pans, if you do that and you don't wipe it out, you're really going to have a mess. And your kitchen is going to smoke and your fire alarms will go off. I'm going to wipe it out. Here comes the unmarked Griswold number 8. It's right next to a marked Griswold number 8. You can see they're both beautiful pans. Again, I'm wiping it out. This one's got a little bit of a funny mark on its surface. I'm not sure what that is. But the seasoning is not adhering very well right here. And I can see that the surface looks a little bit different there, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm not sure what exactly is going on there. Maybe it's a remnant of whatever seasoning process the previous owner used. And now I'm doing demarked Griswold. This marked Griswold and the Iron Mountain skillet I've had for quite a while. They are workhorses in my Texas kitchen here. Of course, I have a ton of iron in my Minneapolis kitchen as well. I have actually quite a bit more in my Minneapolis kitchen, even though I'm not there very often, or it seems like I'm not. A little bit more oil. Crisco is easier, at least for me, to smooth around because it's got not quite as hard of a consistency as this beeswax mixture does. With the beeswax mixture, I'm having to kind of have it melt on the pan. So it's just, it's not a hassle, but it's just a little bit different. Now I'm going to wipe it out. So again, you can see with these pans, they don't look wet. There isn't any liquid pooling. I'm wiping it all out so that basically they should look like, they're just a little shinier. This is the Wagner. Here is the unmarked Griswold, and that's that kind of weird spot I'm talking about right there. Not sure what that is. And here is the Iron Mountain. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my oven on to 450 degrees, and I'm going to take each of these pans and I'm going to place them upside down on a rack in the oven. I'm just showing you the 4 pans upside down in the oven on the 2 racks, and I did not put aluminum on the bottom of the oven. Some people put aluminum on the bottom rack because they are concerned about oil dripping and keeping the oven clean. I don't use enough oil that the oil is going to drip, so I don't find the need to do that, but you can do it of course if you want. Now what I'm going to do is close the door, turn the oven on to 450, and let them cook for an hour. Okay, the timer just went off about 5 minutes ago, and the pans are in the oven still. They're going to be very hot, so I'm going to be very careful when I take them out. And the last one, if I can reach it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rag that I used before, has a little bit left of the beeswax Crisco, and I'm just going to add it to the warm, actually you can see it's hot, it's steaming, hot pan. You really need very, very little. And of course it goes without saying that you have to be very, very careful not to burn yourself. And before I had really become pretty experienced at seasoning pans, I always wore oven mitts as well. And you can see, this is that Griswold unmarked, you can see that little spot there still is not retaining the seasoning. And I've got the Wagner. going to put a little bit more beeswax and Crisco on my rag. And you can see it's really a very small amount. It's a pretty pan. Put a little more beeswax on. Beeswax Crisco mixture, I should say. And this is my number 5 Iron Mountain. See, I'm doubling up on the hang on here. You can see I'm doubling up on the towel because it is very hot. Iron Mountain number 5 is one of my favorite pans. I really love the Iron Mountain line of cast iron. And then I have my Griswold number 8 large block logo. More beeswax and Crisco mixture. See, I'm not getting the skillet wet. Just adding a little protective coating to it. And now I will just leave the pans to cool off on my oven. It's the number 8 Griswold. This is my excitable dog you hear in the background. There's some people doing construction outside. Here is an Iron Mountain number 5. Unmarked Griswold number 8. And the Wagner number 6. Hope you enjoyed the video and maybe even learned a little bit. Thank you.